Hey everybody, Mike Miller with the Herald Times, Andy Graham, John Blau, coming to you from Memorial Stadium in Don Fisher's booth, actually. Usually we're in the visiting booth, but Rutgers dudes just completely left the windows open on their way out. Who are these monsters?
Jersey people.
Well, you're a Jersey guy yourself, so you're able to say that. I'm not.
That's cold.
There.
Cold. It was cold. It was cold in there.
I'm walking in there and I'm like, God, this is the first time I've really felt the elements today since early this afternoon. It was a beautiful day in Bloomington.
I love Jersey people, actually. I love Jersey. As a young man, I love.
My mom's from Jersey.
I love going down the shore, as they like to say down there. So.
Get some water.
Well, Indiana went down today. Didn't go down to the shore.
Dousing of cold water, really, is what this was to the real direction of the season. A 55-52 loss to Rutgers after a 25-point lead with really 20 minutes to go in regulation. Indiana was up 52-27, and then the wheels came off. Turnovers, general lack of any competitive football play, mistakes, a botched snap on a punt.
I think that was the key. I think that changed the tone of the whole thing. As I said in my column, at that point, Rutgers doesn't even really have life. I mean, they're down 3 big scores, and the fourth quarter starting. Indiana's going to punt them deep in their own territory because the punt was from about midfield. It's just not happening at that point for them. But that turned into a touchdown for Rutgers.
Yeah, it did.
And all of a sudden they're within 2 scores, and that kind of made the conception of victory conceivable to them, I think. And they said, well, heck, we're within 2 scores all of a sudden. Let's see if we can do some things.
Yeah, 2 things
It
there.
changed everything.
For one, it shows just how lucky Indiana was to have a long snapper the caliber of Matt Dooley the last 4 years. I mean, that guy, I'm not sure he made many mistakes, if any. I mean, that guy, you never called his name because he just went in there and did his job. That was a major loss.
And I think that was the first bad snap this year.
It was. It absolutely was. It was a freshman. We believe he was a freshman, Dan Godsell.
Well, and once again, you don't want to pin too much on him.
It wasn't one play.
No.
But it was just.
But that just changed the tone. I mean,
totally.
Up until that point, Rutgers had no life.
There
was no life on their sidelines. I mean, there was nothing going on.
It was mistake after bad play after just compounded upon each other.
And Nate Sudfelder had such a great game through consecutive, through interceptions on consecutive snaps.
Yeah.
I mean, it just all fell apart to the point of just, even by Indiana historical standards, it was stunning.
It was, and I mean, the bottom line, to be blunt about it, Andy, you said this in your column, and I think you're absolutely on point. It's first of all, it's a disastrous loss, and it has the potential to be a real negative as far as being a program change. I mean, this could totally send Indiana in the wrong direction. I mean, you're in the teeth of the schedule right now. You had a winnable game against a team you should have beaten on homecoming, and you just totally let a victory slip away like that. I mean, you worry about. You hear the same stuff about, this team's going to come back tomorrow and bounce back and review the film and really put it toward Michigan State next week. Well, that sounds great, but I frankly have a difficult time believing it, especially, if Wilson kind of pointed out during the game, once they get up by 25 points, he saw some smiles, maybe some guys prematurely celebrating this game. It's kind of, if you're not mature enough to kind of close out a game at this point, what makes anyone believe you're going to be mature enough to bounce back 7 days later and take on the number 7 team in the country in East Lansing? It's a real concerning loss, real concerning development for this supposed breakthrough season.
Well, yeah, Indiana should never be fat and sassy about anything. But Marcus Oliver, who had a great day at linebacker today for Indiana, actually, even he missed a crucial tackle on what proved to be the final scoring drive, decisive scoring drive. He said a lot of the guys, were guys who dress out but aren't playing, young guys who were really excited for the program, that things were going so well, and seemed like a big win was pretty much in hand. And he said they haven't lived it yet. They haven't been through it. They didn't really get it. That no, you have to play. One of the mantras that Kevin Wilson has preached, certainly this year, but pretty much every year, said next play. You just keep playing. You keep playing until the game's over, until the final whistle blows. And today, Indiana, collectively, all failed to do that. The coaches got a little bit, I thought, conservative on their play calling. The players stopped making plays. The players stopped executing. The defense just totally wilted, and Rutgers just ran roughshod the entire fourth quarter. It was shocking because, Indiana's third quarter was
28 points.
28 points for Indiana.
First time they've done that in 14 years.
And they've been good in the third quarter most of the year this year. But I mean, in past games and certainly in the non-conference games, they showed an ability to kind of rise up and make big plays down the stretch too, to close out a game and make sure a game was won. And I think, once again, if you put Jordan Howard out there, can you get a 4th and 1? Sure. I mean, they probably could have used him today. But, in all fairness, I mean, this was a game that even if they had it won, they just couldn't act like they had it won. They had to keep playing, and they didn't. And it's one of the more, I mean, shoot, I've been watching Indiana football for a long time, and there's a wide variety of ways that I've seen Indiana lose unexpectedly or stunningly, or use any adjective you want to use, but adverb I should say. But anyway, this was up there with, or down there with, one of the worst losses I've seen. I mean, it just. And it's the kind of thing that can absolutely kill a program. It kills recruiting. It kills interest in the program. And they're going to have to steal one now. They're going to have to go either in the East Lansing, which is not a venue where the Hoosiers have found much happiness over the years, or at home against Iowa, or home against Michigan, 2 teams that have played about as well as any teams in the conference this year. Mm-hmm. And they're going to have to beat one of those teams probably now, at least one. I don't know. They're going to have to prove it to people now, because right now, people aren't going to have much faith that things are going to turn around. On the other hand, John, you talked to the Rutgers guys, and this for them, I mean, they came in 2-3, and they went through the nadir of their program earlier this year, where they had to kick 4 guys off their team, and Coach Kyle Flood was suspended for what turned out to be inappropriate contact with a professor regarding the academic status of a player. This had to be, what were the Rutgers guys like after this game?
They were actually kind of subdued. It was kind of weird. We were talking to Steve Longo, who's one of their linebackers. He had 16 tackles on the game. And one of the reporters was like, "You guys seem like really down right now. Like, what's going on?" It's like, "Man, we were partying in the locker room. You have no idea. Champagne bottles were just down right now because we're just, But they were pretty happy, obviously. Kyle Flood, like he said, it was his first game back. You just thought it showed some resilience. Obviously, a lot of teams would quit being down by that much, but they kind of gutted it out and kept playing. I think they mentioned that 25 points is the most of Rutgers that ever come back in a game, and so they've done this once before.
And Rutgers played the very first game in college football history.
Right.
So
no one's played more major college football. No one's played more games in Rutgers.
Right, and so
it's the first time in history they've come back from a deficit that large.
Well, I think he said that was the program record for the most they come back, and then they did it again. He said, "Yeah, I was here for that one too, and I'm surprised I'm still here because they got behind by that much." But I mean, obviously they were able to pull it out, and obviously much happier people over on the Rutgers side of things, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, there were some good things happening for Indiana. I mean, and Coach Wilson brought that up, and it's true. Look, I mean, Nate Sudfeld not only wasn't rusty, but he was as sharp as I've ever seen him for most of this game.
Received a shot early in the day, actually. He said he wasn't sure that he was even going to be able to play, despite, kind of what Kevin Wilson took a tone early in the week when I asked him on the teleconference just about Sudfeld's status and whether or not he was specifically asked him if he was working with the first team. He said yes, he was. He was working in. Sudfeld said he practiced a little bit, but never really felt sure that he was going to be able to go really until he woke up today, until he got to the stadium today and received a shot that numbed his left ankle and let him go out there and play. And you're right, didn't show any real signs of rust or being hobbled or being even decisive. And he took a couple shots too.
He did,
and he kept going.
Well, he showed some mobility.
Yeah, he did.
Well. I mean, he one thing, Indiana didn't pick up blitzes real well sometimes today, but one time Nate did a spin move and got a big third down pass completed. The other time he bought time, I think also on a third down or maybe even a fourth down. I think it was a fourth down. And he found Mitchell Page So anyway, he looked really, really good for, almost all the game until things just started falling apart for everyone, himself included. And I think, Mike Majette was a kind of a revelation at running back. Once Jordan Howard does come back, I mean, Majette gives, not just Divine Redding, but now he provides even a better, not a better, but an augmented complement to Howard, because Howard's a power back and Majette is
you can do a lot with him. You can put him in the slot too if you
catch the ball. I mean, so that looked good. The receiver, we had 3 all-starting wideouts went over 100 yards. Oliver, who, as I mentioned earlier, had a good game. He missed a tackle. He had a career-high 12 solos and 14 tackles.
I thought Richard Fant played well, too, in the corner.
Fant's been playing well, and he played really well today. All of that stuff's true, and I even said the guy who pulled out the ring on the kiss cam, got a yes from his new fiance. So some things went well today. but this was one of the most disheartening losses I've seen. And I've been coming to Indiana games since the 1960s, so I've seen a lot of them.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
but there's not much more to say other than there's a whole litany of games I could mention that I won't. I'll spare people. I'm not going to bet. I'm just saying this is one of them. This is one of the really bad losses.
In recent memory, the first thing I kind of reflected on was that Minnesota game 2 years ago. But that team wasn't really supposed to be in shape to break through. That wasn't supposed to be the year. This is supposed to be the year, and they look to be on course. They look to be on course their last time here against Ohio State. They should have won today, and they didn't. And now you have to wonder what that course will ultimately be.
Indiana gained 627 yards a day and lost. I mean, it was a game that they should have won. They basically had won, but they couldn't play like they hadn't won, and they did. And they came back to bite them.
Man, like you said, some stuff to move forward and to really build on, but once again, some of the same problems kind of creeping up and coming at a really difficult time heading to Michigan State next week. We'll be back on Monday here to kind of recap this with the coaches and find out what they see moving forward. Until then,
Kevin Wilson could be coaching here for a real long time, but if he isn't, people will look back on this day as maybe a time when that tenure started to come to an end.
I've said this often. I've said this to a lot of people. I think Kevin Wilson's done virtually everything a coach at Indiana has to do except for win. And they didn't win today. So.
Yep, I think he's done a great job of building, but it's got to happen on the field.
Yep. All right, we'll see you guys.
See you.